So now let's take a look at some specific apps and some specific software that have to do with the remembering level. Well, first of all, word processing is huge. Anything that you can word process or write. There are a lot of apps just for writing notes, simple notes. There are some apps for some more editing. I think by far the most useful, and which I think you're probably familiar with, if you weren't, I'm forcing you to use it, is Google Drive and Google Docs. At the University of Minnesota, of course, we access that through our Google Mail, and you can create all kinds of documents here, and writing documents, presentation, spreadsheet form. For the remembering level, probably just the document where you're making lists, you're recording things, you're recalling and writing it out on paper. So the great thing about Google Drive is that not only can you create documents, store them on the cloud, meaning that they are online and you access them through the internet, but you can give other people access to them and collaborate. So the great thing about Google Drive, of course, is that it is on the internet. I'm not going to show you specifically how to create a doc. I think you know how to do that. If you don't, try it out and ask me for help if you need it. Now, the great thing about Google Drive is it's on the internet. The bad thing about Google Drive is it's on the internet, because if you don't have the internet, then what do you do? Now, most computers have a Word program like Word to work on, and then when you have internet, you can put it up to your Google Drive. Well, what if you don't want to buy that? I wanted to point out, if you're not familiar, there are a lot of open source software out there. In the education world, we can refer to them to open education resources. OpenOffice is a suite of Office apps that you download. It's software. You download it onto your machine, just like you would Microsoft Word, or like you would the Mac, writing their Office stuff. But this is free. And you see, after you download it, it works very much like, any typical, this is a word processor. And so you've got the whole suite, and it saves. It works like everything except it's free. It's open source. And I think that, if people were to decide that that's good enough and not buy from, Microsoft and other people, I think it could make a huge change. Now let's take a look at a couple of iPad apps for writing and word processing. I'm using Camtasia, which is fairly expensive but very nice screencasting software. And the latest version allows you to hook up your iPad. So I'm going to go to, an app called Plain Text. And what Plain Text does is it allows you, it's a word processor. We can just, we can type. I am not a thumb texter, but if you didn't know, the latest versions of iOS allow you to do that. So if I were a thumb texter, then I could do that, but I can't. So all I'm doing is taking my fingers and spreading the keyboard or putting it together. And one nice thing about Plain Text and some of the other ones that we'll work with is that it links directly to different resources that you might have. And the one that I always use, so I went to Share, Open In, and I am a Dropbox user. I have all of my files on Dropbox. I don't have most of my files on Dropbox. Every single file in my personal or professional life is on Dropbox. It takes a little, discipline to do that, but You can download it on your desktop, so it works just like a folder. I just drop it in the folder, it uploads, and anywhere I am, if I'm on campus, if I'm anywhere else, whatever device I have, if I have to look at it on my phone, I can look at any file that I have on Dropbox. So this will allow you to write your text and then open it. You can open it in Dropbox. Here you're just reading it. If I were on my computer, I could open it on Dropbox, and then I could edit it using whatever I wanted to use. So that's plain text. Another one like that is Documents Free. This is a whole Office suite that goes onto your mobile device. And you can do documents here, and we can create files. So a document, a spreadsheet. So we'll create a document, and we can text. We can type and then save, and this will also link to Dropbox or whatever else it is that you use. So again, whatever activity you have where the students need to be writing, recording, listing, whatever they're doing at that remembering level, they can use Google Doc. They can use an open office document if you want to be off the web. And these, I showed you 2 apps, mobile apps for word processing also. The next thing I'd like to talk to you about is mind mapping or concept mapping. And this is a way of showing and recording what you remember about something. Maybe your students, what they remember about a story, they're going to put on a mind map. Now, this can certainly work at the remembering level. Mind maps are also really good for arranging things and showing those connections between things and making connections, and you can even label the lines that go between things. And so that would go beyond remembering, but we're going to look at mind maps because they can certainly be used at this level. And we're going to look at one called Simple Mind, which is a mobile app, but it also has a desktop application that you can download. These are you have to pay for the full function, but you can download trial, and there is a free for your iPad, and we'll take a look at how that works for concept mapping.